Hello and welcome back to Binge Retro, or Binge Evercade. What I'm doing with these videos is I'm going through my collection of Evercade cartridges and I'm testing out every one and reviewing them and picking my top games and talking about it on YouTube. And this is the fifth cartridge. It's the Atari Collection 2. And like I said in the first Atari Collection 1 video, I never grew up with the Atari 2600. It's a strange machine to me and feels very ancient, but I did grow up with the singular ZX Spectrum, so I do have a fondness for this period when people were trying to discover what video games actually were and doing all sorts of experimentation, and the Atari 2600 is absolutely that. And we're gonna see that today with my top picks, which But what will I feel about this? This is a mixture of a lot of games, mostly from the 2600, but also from the 7800, and it's 20 games. But is it the value for money that it looks on the surface to be? Because these are 20 games. Let's check it out. Let's see what I think. Haunted House. I feel this was a very interesting title, and what I really like about it is that it has character, which is not very common with Atari 2600 games. There's a lot you can do just by having eyes walking around a spooky mansion. It's quite a simple game. It is rogue-like in a way because it's randomized every time, which I think is very cool for titles for that time. What this game is about is basically you are in a house, there's ghosts and bats and everything, and you're supposed to find 3 pieces of an urn and then get out of the house and try to avoid everyone in the process. I like this experimentation. It's weird. It's like a game I've never played before. It reminds me a little bit of a game called A Tick Attack or Eric Attack on the ZX Spectrum, but a much kind of earlier version. Even though there's not many years between those games, this one feels a lot earlier. What is cool about it, you're supposed to try to find the pieces of urn in the dark, and to do that you light matches and try to find them, and and there's a magic wand. You can pick that up instead of the urn pieces just to walk through ghosts and things like that. It's a cool game. It's different. It's weird. It's the early video game thing where people just trying to figure out what video games actually were, and I like this. It surprised me, this game. What can I say? Yar's Revenge. I've always kind of maintained that Yar's Revenge is probably the best 2600 title, even though I'm not an expert and not played all the 2600 titles, but it's just so unique, it's so cool. The droning sounds and the slow missile that comes from whatever you're trying to kill there. It's just a weird game, and it's fun to play. Why is it number 2 though? That's the interesting part. Well, I did put Yar's Return as my number 1 pick for the Atari 1 cartridge, and I think that's a little bit of a more interesting title, even though some of the levels are maybe a little bit too long. But yeah, Yar's Revenge. It's iconic. You have to test this game out. You have to try it just to get the feel of it. There's not a single game ever made that even remotely feels like Yar's Revenge, and it's cool. I like it. Whoa, what is this? Well, my mind was kind of blown by this one. I had never heard of this game. It's a very late Atari 2600 title, 1986, like well past the due date of the 2600, and it kind of shows. I mean, the game just looks so cool. I mean, look at these images. It's a psychedelic trip through space, and it's also a fun game. I've never seen a game this epic on the Atari 2600. You fly through space, you warp between planets, there's different types of enemies in there, you pick up prisoners or whatever there are on the planet, and it's just fun. It works. You're just around in space, just shooting stuff and kicking ass. I don't know. I was really surprised by this game. It's a really cool game. And in my mind, right now, after testing both the Atari cartridges and I've also tested back in the day a few of the Activision titles, I think this is the most impressive Atari 2600 game I've ever seen. And yeah, test it out. It's a good game. So what did I think of this overall? Is this a cartridge that you should buy? Well, 20 games, not all of them are great. I mean, some of them don't hold up well, but there are some really strong titles here, and overall, I think this is a better package than the first collection. Mainly because there's some strong, kind of iconic 2600 titles in here. I mean, Yar's Revenge. That's an iconic title. I was really fond of Solaris, never heard of that game before I started playing this. Haunted House, and there are some really good ones here as well. I mean, there's decent versions, 7800 versions of Asteroids and Centipede. And what else did I like here? I really liked a game called Radar Lock, which was kind of like an afterburner type of thing. Dark Chambers is cool. I mean, there's a lot of cool things here. I think this would be, if you want to test out the 2600 and can only buy one cartridge, buy this one. What I say, it's only kind of missing the iconic Activision titles from the time. Otherwise, a very strong package, to be honest. And this is a buy from me. Even though I'm probably not going to play this cartridge a lot, but I really enjoyed going through it, and I think that's a value with Evercade cartridges. So I'm happy with my purchase for this one. And yeah, that's it. And let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree, if I missed a gem in here that I didn't mention. And yeah, hope to see you again in other Finish Retros videos.